交わし合って革命のちぎり誰にも邪魔させるわ Anyway 辛いから
Hello everybody, and welcome to Paragade After Hours, a podcast where we usually talk about other things except we're going to be discussing anime. And we're back with Death Note and Bran. Hi Bran.
Hello, everybody. We're here back with Death Note because it's the best.
Is it the best?
It's one of my favorites, so I just kind of lead with that wherever I go.
Okay. I mean, it's definitely an anime, and that you know, we'll get into my...
That's never a compliment when you're like, this is my favorite anime, and the person is like, it's definitely an anime.
Oh.
And it's not even 5 minutes in.
Oh my god. So, what are you drinking today, Bran?
Well, I'm kind of disappointed. I don't know if you heard my can clang emptily earlier, but I had a little root beer that I was drinking, and I finished it, so...
You just finished it.
I didn't get anything else to drink before I started the call, so... Nothing.
Nothing. Well, I did it. I did the needful. I got something from Tennessee that is alcoholic.
Yes!
It's, Old Smoky Tennessee Moonshine.
Old Smoky.
Old, Old Smoky. It's a blackberry moonshine. It's
oh my god.
It's really sweet. It's really, really sweet.
Oh yeah. When it comes to like hard liquor, if it's like really like, I guess I should just leave it this. Fireball is like what I think of when people are like, it's really sweet hard liquor, and I'm like, no, I don't want ever to experience that. Again. But I love blackberry, so
yeah.
Like, I don't know, maybe it's really good.
Well, it's kind of like it's like a sweet tea, basically. It is like a sweet tea, like, and you just kind of don't notice the alcohol burn, like, at all. And yeah, it's just like, oh, I'm just having a nice old thing of sweet tea, and oh, there's my foot in front of my face. How'd I wind up on the floor? Oh, Jesus.
Magic.
Thanks,
Tennessee.
Thank you, Tennessee. You fucked me up in more ways than one.
Yeah, that's them. So far, in my experience.
You know? And also, before we dive deep into Death Note, because I kind of want to cushion this, because there's
a lot to unpack here.
There's a lot to unpack in these 5 episodes. What have you been up to this week, aside from, you know, anime, or if you've been watching other anime, what you been watching?
Well, I haven't been watching any other shows really, but I have been playing through Breath of the Wild a second time, which has been really fun. Yeah, I'm playing that with my sister because she hasn't seen it yet. So she's loving it. We're having a good time. And then halfway through Breath of the Wild, she was like, hey, remember Hyrule Warriors? So I was like, uh-huh. So we picked up Hyrule Warriors, and like we've been bouncing back and forth between those two all week. So that's about the extent to what I've been up to.
Okay, that's fun though.
Yeah, it has been fun. It's a little I didn't have the patience to go back to Hyrule Warriors at the beginning and play it like actually from the beginning, so I'm just like using all the good weapons and not caring. I'm just like, let's just get this over with because I hate the story mode so much.
Oh, you don't like Hatsune Miku guest starring in Hyrule?
And she's my sister's favorite character, and I don't have the heart to like trash talk her in front of her because she just loves her, and I'm like, oh no. So, but she looks like she's having a good time, so I let her have it.
You know, isn't that like the most, I guess, admirable thing, is to just let somebody you love just really get into their garbage?
Yeah, just like not shit talking someone's anime waifu. That's just the biggest person that you can be.
Yeah,
like, let them have this, and people are like, don't, and you're like, no, I'm gonna let them. Like,
I'm gonna let them have this.
This good energy will find me someday, and someone won't trash talk me about my waifus.
Oh, I love that optimism you have there.
Someday, yeah. As long as I'm friends with you, though, I know that someone will always be there to trash talk my waifus and my favorite enemies. So, with that being said, have you watched anything this week?
Yes, I've watched and I've played 2 things. So, there's this anime on High Dive called Ao-chan Can't Study.
Same. Ao-chan.
Well, the basic premise is that Ao-chan, she is the daughter of an erotica novelist. And the reason why her name is Ao-chan is because her full name basically goes to Ahigao. You know, Ahigao face. You know, that face.
Oh my god.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Wowie.
So when she was younger, she was like, this is my name. And everybody's like, that's weird. And then she went on to describe what her family does, and that's when she was talking about her dad. She's like, my dad makes sex novels, and everybody's like, oh my god.
Why would you tell us this, small baby?
So after that, she basically just lives the rest of her life about being like, I am not interested in sex, I'm not interested in boys, I just want to get to college and just ignore this for like the rest of my life. But she is so horny on main regardless. Like, that is like her constant like go-to thing about any interaction she's going in. She's like, they're gonna try to stick their hand down my pants, they're gonna try to touch my titties. And I was just like, okay. And
what a life to live. Like, what
and her dad just looks like an actual little gremlin who like the first episode's so rough. It's so rough because it's just like that, you know, shitty, like, you know, oh, this is anime being horny bullshit. You're just like, stop. But then she gets the attention of some boy that she calls King of the Normies, which also, you don't know his life. You don't know his life.
She's like, no, I know his life. He's a normie.
And he's like, you know, he's really into her. He's like, I want to get to know you better. I really want to, like, you know, go out with you. And they have like this, you know, crazy mishap where her shirt gets pulled up and he sees her titties, and she's like, oh my god, he's gonna do something. And he takes his sweater and just puts it over her. He's like, you should respect yourself more.
Oh, she's like, it was an accident, you asshole.
So the whole thing is like, what if we just followed the tsundere character for like the entirety of the series? And that's basically her, except she misunderstands every situation as like, this is the beginning of some hentai, basically.
Gosh.
And
she's been scarred for life.
And he's over here just like, no, I respect women. Why don't you get this?
That sounds, what's the word? Unconventional, but interesting.
It's interesting. They have 4 episodes out. It's 15-minute episodes, so it's really easy to just
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's super easy to just get in, get out. Yeah. And, because me and M blazed through the first 4 episodes, and we didn't realize that it was still ongoing, because it looks like it's from, like, early 2010s. So we were like... God. So at first we thought, like, oh, we'll just go ahead and get through this, and we get to episode 4, and it leaves off at a cliffhanger, and we're like, what the fuck do you mean I gotta wait?
Yeah, that's always the worst when you think, like, something came out forever ago, and you realize, like, nope, this is, like, still in the works, and you're like, no. I don't want to wait.
And then the 2 things I've been playing, I've actually been replaying these games. Dragon's Dogma.
Yes! I saw your boy. I saw
your
Frit boy.
My pawn, Ben Swallow.
He lives.
I love him. I love that the character creation just allows you to make a horrible monstrosity. This absolute unit of a man.
A terrifying sight to behold. They have, like, the worst case of, like, goiter neck in that game. Like, you'll think, like, oh, this jaw looks so great, and then you turn it to the side and you're like, what happened to their neck? Yeah. It's terrible. I've literally, like, I've played this game so many times that, like, I've gone through and marked off, like, which ones I don't like so that I don't get fooled when I remake a character.
Oh my god.
They're monsters.
They're monsters. And I like that you get to customize their voice. So Ben Swallow just has, like, this really deep voice. He's just like, arisen over here.
You're like, what is it, Ben Swallow? I'm coming.
I'm coming, Ben Swallow. Oh, God.
I want it on the record that out of Joe Vasquez's mouth came the words, I'm coming, Ben Swallow.
Don't take that out of context.
You know we gonna.
Oh, God. Oh, and then, because like a monkey's paw, we've all wanted Persona 5 on the Switch, and Atlas heard our prayers and was like, oh, you want Persona on the Switch? So what you're saying is that you want a Persona Warriors game on the Switch, and we're all like,
no,
no, that's not what we want.
That's not what I asked for.
And like, oh, you mean remove anything that you wanted from the actual Persona games and just put it on Switch instead? No, please. You got it, buddy.
They're just shoving it at you like, yes, this is what you want. And you're like,
So, yeah, I got really bummed out about that. So I then found out that they did make a PS3 version of Persona 5.
Oh, cool.
So I went ahead and got that, and I turned on my PS3 for like the first time in over 2 years.
Bruh, I'm gonna die if they release if they release Persona 5 like on the Switch in like a month or so.
I will stream. I will
You're
legitimately...
Dang it, I got it on the PS3! That's how I feel about Dragon's Dogma. Yeah. I literally have already bought it on the PS3, then I went ahead and rebought the remake on PS4.
Yeah.
And I was eyeing it on Switch the other day, and I was like, when will you stop?
When will you stop?
Just stop.
You're like, I don't want to buy it for a fourth time. Come on.
I'm like, but what if I want to Ben Swallow on the Golo? Like, better stop.
God.
Oh, man.
Actually, I recently looked up, like, I think one of the games I've bought the most times is Final Fantasy IX, because I have the original PS1 version, I have it on the PS3, I have it on the PSP, I have it on my phone, I have it on Switch. I have bought Final Fantasy IX more times than I have ever felt comfortable rebuying a game, only because I forgot that I bought it this many times.
You're just like, oh, I love this game, buys it, wait, like... Let me think. How many of these games do I own?
How many copies of Final Fantasy IX do I own? Who the fuck knows?
I know. Well, Okami's the same way. I have that for the. I got it for the. I think I got it originally on the Wii, but I don't have a Wii anymore, so I got it on PS4. And then again, I was like, oh, it'd be so cool to play it on the Switch.
All right. Well, I think that's enough housekeeping. Let's talk about anime.
Housekeeping. I like that.
All right.
But yes, let's jump into episode 6 of Death Note.
Yes. Let me go ahead and send you a link to my notes again.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I have them. Let me get to mine.
Here we go.
Thanks, Google Drive.
All right. So we're gonna go on to episode 6, Unraveling. So. Basically, we pick right back off from the ending of episode 5, where, like, you know, the police force goes up to Elle's hotel room, and they're like, who the fuck is this gremlin? And he's like, hi, it me.
He's like, hi, welcome to Chili's. That's literally how he answers the door. He just looks so disheveled.
Oh, and he points, like, at them with, like, a finger gun, and he's like, bang, bang, bang. And everybody's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And he's like, if I was Kira, you'd all be dead right now. Why the hell did you give me all your names right off the bat, you fucking dumbasses?
They're like, we're just following orders. And he's like, well, you're dumb. Now sit down and turn off your cell phones.
Oh, God. So...
I love how Aizawa's like, oh, you think we're going to be snitching? And he's just like, no, I just don't like when people talk on their cell phones when I'm talking.
Yes. Oh, yeah. He's like, everybody turn off your fucking cell phones. And also, my name's Ryuzaki now. Like, that's just who I am, I guess.
And they're like, okay, Ryuzaki. Like, in the same sentence.
Yeah.
The same conversation. They're like, okay.
So, everybody turns off their cell phones. And, you know, they start getting, like, together. And he's like, I also don't want anybody to write any of this shit down. Just keep it in your head. Like, we ain't doing this shit because guess what? Y'all been hacked before. And, of course, he lays out that Light is just a fucking child.
Yeah, he really just is like... And I love how he describes another point that I liked when he was going over like profiling Kira essentially, and he's like, wait, we can't just stop broadcasting names because well, yeah, they said that. They're like, well, we can just stop broadcasting names, but what
Yeah.
about the general safety of the public? And he's like, yeah, no, if you stop broadcasting names, he's like, fine, I'm going to kill lesser criminals, or I'm going to kill good, innocent people, because if you stand in the way of my definition of justice, you're the evil ones. And he's like, that's exactly how he thinks. I'm like, damn, he's right, though. Like, Light really would resort to killing innocent people if he felt it was, like, big picture getting in the way of, like, his idea of justice. I was
yeah.
like, he's had him pinned like since the beginning, so
Oh yeah, was cool. It was really cool, and like he's being like slightly inspiring, just being like, listen, like we're basically putting all of our lives on the line here. It's like I really want to take this fucker down because he's a fucking child. We can't let him have this kind of power.
Don't let baby boy take over the world.
I'm like, same. Thank you.
Destroy him.
And then, of course, like, when he's talking about, like, any loose ends that, like, you know, Kira might have left. And it's just, like, Naomi's here. And it's like,
it's a me. Like,
it's a me, the one other competent character in this fucking show. And, of course, Elle is like, oh, shit, my team's actually competent this time. Who knew? And then we go back to Light. And Light's like, I take a piece of my death note with me every day, just in case I want to murder somebody.
Sometimes I pet it when no one's looking because I love it so much. And we're like, Light, you good? He's like, yeah, I'm fine. I just really love this death note, man. I just love the paper. I'm smelling it. I'm taking it out for a coffee in the morning. We're like, Light, stop.
It's like, oh, man, it just gets me. It totally gets me. This death note and I. And
it's the only one who gets me.
And of course, Light goes to the headquarters and is like, hey, I'm here to bring out clothes to my dad, you know, my dad who I love and will never ever kill. And who else is there but Naomi? And they're both like, you know, I also want to go and speak to, like, you know, the task force. And then Light's like, oh shit, does she know something about, like, you know, the Kira case? I should go follow her. And then it turns out, yeah, she's fucking Ray Pember's fiance. And he's like, oh, fuck.
Oh, it drives me nuts that, like, like, it's just pure chance. It just makes me so mad that, like, I mean, I don't know. This is the whole death note thing. It's like you start the story from the bad guy's perspective, so you're like, I want him to not succeed, but also I want to see like how far he gets. But like, just watching the beginning and thinking like how far he actually gets, and I'm like, it really could have been over with Naomi. Like, this is why if he hadn't killed Ray Pember and just left it alone, he would have gotten away with everything, because Naomi comes in after him for killing Ray. It just blows my mind that, like, this, and he says that while he's, like, talking to her, he stops and he's like, who is this woman? And he's like, yeah, you messed up, you dumb baby.
And he asks for her name, and she gives him a fucking false name. And Ryuk's just there like, you fucking idiot!
He's like, what's so freaking funny? Why does he keep laughing? And you're like, it's a secret tool that'll help us later.
It's like, it's great. It's so great.
When you find out, you're gonna lose your mind.
Oh.
Like, I hate when she's at the front desk and she's like, that's not good enough. I want to talk to someone that, like, is actually on the Kira investigation. And Light's like, this sounds interesting. Let me just, like, put on my person face and be like, I'm a trusting boy. And he's like, he says this, he's like, besides, or he starts talking about, like, the investigation, and they're like, maybe you shouldn't talk about the investigation to this woman that you don't know who she is. And Light's just like, I feel like I can trust her. You could see it in her eyes. She's a wise and careful person. And I'm like, shut up! Like
shut
he starts
up.
buttering, like, even the people at the desk, I'd have been like, what? Like, what did you just say to this woman you just met? And even she's like, okay, anyways, I'm just gonna go now. Like, don't follow me.
And I just like how Light's here, like, I am also a human man person. I know how to talk to humans.
I am complimenting you and your skills as a detective.
Oh my god. And then the other thing I guess, I don't like this in that, like, they're saying that Light solved a case as well, and that's the reason why he's like so fucking smart. It's like, oh my god, this fucking Gary Stu of a character. It's like, of course he knows how to hack, he solves cases. It's like, what else doesn't he do? It's like, does he also have 2 death notes? Who knows?
And then in episode 10, you're like, what else does he do? And he's just like, apparently I'm a tennis champion. And you're like, I hate Light Yagami.
We will get to that. We will get to the Prince of Tennis. Oh my god.
I hate it.
Ryuk is of course being the best boy by just like laughing the entire time.
Just living it up. He's like, this is exactly why I put the Death Note in here, is to have a good old chortle, and he is just having the time of his life, and it's so great. I feel like that makes this scene so funny in some aspects. Like, it helps pull you out of how serious it is, but then, like, I guess we're kind of like jumping into episode 7 at this point.
Oh yeah.
But like, so like when you realize, like, and she realizes that she's gonna have to give him her real name, and Ryuk's laughter like plays such a just amazing cinematic role. Everything's silhouetted, and he's cackling, and you're like, oh no, now it's not funny anymore, and it's just very ominous and I just love it.
So episode 7, Overcast. Light writes the name of the Death Note. The time comes, and he's like, what the fuck is she? Isn't she going to go kill herself? Oh my god.
An alias! And it like zooms in on his face.
And he, he's just standing there like, why the fuck did she give me an alias? It's like, I don't know, you fucking dumbass.
Maybe she's smart, like, and he's like, what? Like,
what?
Someone doesn't trust me? I don't get exactly what I want when I want it for once? Like, no, Light, you dummy.
No, I love that he's also, like, the same kind of sexist who's like, it's a woman, of course she keeps, like, an ID or something in her pocket.
Yeah, and she's, like, obviously a lot older than him, too, which pisses me off as well. Like, he talked respectfully to her out loud, but, like, in general, his thoughts about her are always, like, super surprised, and, like, when she does anything to prevent him from, and she does so well, like, honestly, she resisted like so much more than anyone else would, and it makes me really mad because she, even when he starts following her after, he's tried to explain to her what's going on, and he's panicking in his own head.
Oh yeah.
And she stops and she's like, so were you gonna go back to task force, or are you just following me for no reason? And he's like, oh yeah, sorry. I'm like, yeah, fuck off, Light. Like, stop following this woman around. He's just surprised that in general, someone's just not immediately charmed by him and handing over.
So basically, the gist of this episode is, because I want to talk more about, I guess, my feelings towards this episode and episode 6 in particular, because I really hate this episode. I really hate this episode.
It's so sad.
So eventually he convinces her to give him her real name by being like, oh, I'm a member of the task force, I know L. And she's like, weird, same, I also know L. And yeah, and she suddenly loses like 10 IQ points as like, yeah, here's my real name, writes the name in the death note. He's like, you fucking dumbass, guess what, you're gonna go kill yourself, by the way, I'm Kira. And she goes off to fridge herself, and, alright, so here's the thing that really pissed me off about this, is that I understand why, narratively, Naomi's gotta go. Like, otherwise this is gonna be a real short story. You basically made this character who's way, way too smart, and you put them in situations where it's like, they're just gonna win. It's like, they're gonna win until you just use your author powers to say that, like, oh no, they suddenly don't have the same sort of deductive skills as they had before, because she demonstrated that she was able to make those leaps in logic to kind of figure out, like, oh, this is how the Death Note works. And she doesn't know it's a Death Note, but this is how the Death Note works.
Yeah, and it's one of the biggest discoveries about the Death Note, and it's something that Light didn't even figure out until Ray Pember, essentially, and the prisoners before him, that he can kill in ways besides a heart attack. And it's like a week later, this girl also figures it out, and it's just it's a really big leap for a character to make, and that's awesome. And in general, that also tips off Elle, and I mean, it helps him narrow down his investigation so
Yeah.
much. She's a great character.
She's a great character, and it's just that they forced her into the situation where she has to die, and I really don't think that should have happened in the first place. And to me, it's particularly bad that it's a woman as well. Like,
Yeah.
it sucks that it's like, like, so far we've just treated women like shit throughout like most of the show. Like, we've had like the one girl who is just like boy crazy over Light, and now we have Naomi who is like, oh yeah, I'll go ahead and leave my career behind because my husband told me so. And then when she actually has like the opportunity to give her own agency, she's immediately fridged. And she's fridged not really like consistent with like the plot either. It's that she suddenly just becomes way stupider. And
well, I think, I don't know, in my opinion, like when it comes down to Naomi actually giving Light her name, I think I don't think it really has a lot to, I think it's believable because as someone who did give up her career for her husband and has been basically forced into silence over lots of things that made her really good at her job, someone on the task force, he literally, like, Light's narrating his manipulation of her and her emotions at the time, but you're young and beautiful, you have your whole life ahead of you, why would you throw it all away? And she's like, no, and she's serious about it, and he takes her passion and for her own intelligence, and on top of that, her grief over her husband dying, and like, not only that, but reaffirms her own intelligence in ways that her husband never did, and maybe nobody other than Elle ever has for her, and completely twist it. And it's like the one time that I feel like she's ever, compromised her feeling of safety to be like, I want to do this, not just because, like, I've been forced to be quiet about what I know I'm good at my whole life, but on top of that, my husband's dead or my fiance is dead, so I really don't have anything left, and I want to go back to doing what I love doing. And he just takes that, and he knows exactly how to use it, and he even, like, he's like, all she needs is a little push, and he throws that compliment out there, and she's like, no. And so I feel like it was just the perfect combination, right place, right time for Light, and just the worst time and worst place for Naomi.
I can agree. I can kind of sort of agree.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, I definitely think it's still, like, to me it's understandable, like, why she would give in. It does seem a little sudden, but also think about, like, how men pressuring women into certain situations, like, the whole idea of, like, a persistent male, just like, keep trying, you know what I mean? Like, she'll say yes eventually. Like, that's also another thing at play here where she's like, look,
fuck, you're right.
It just bothered. This whole scene bothers me. It's probably the angriest I am at Light until the two other women that come into his life later on. He's just the worst person. He's awful. Also, before we move on, I wasn't sure if you saw, but it's one of my favorite places, or faces that Light makes in the show. But if you look at my notes at the end of episode 7,
hold on,
where she's like, I'm so sorry, I gave you a fake name, and Light's face is like, no, it's like the fakest surprise I've ever seen in my life. He's just like, no way. It's like, and he just stays like that for like 3 seconds, and he's like, that's okay. Like, it just blows me away.
No, it looks like the fucking Pikachu meme.
Yeah, it really does. Huh? No worries. Like,
God.
It's A-okay.
Oh, shit. But, yeah, this episode bothered me.
It's terrible.
It's a really bad episode because everything else always felt like it really was a game of mind chess. This one really felt more like it was because the author said it had to happen.
Yeah. And at the same breath, I know it, like, needlessly kills a woman, but in that same breath, I respect that he, like, chose a woman to be, like, something that literally let Elle's, like, eyes zoom in on Light and be like, now I know. Like, if Naomi was involved with the case, it's because she had information about Ray Pember's death. Who was Ray Pember investigating? And then from then on, it's like, Light is his number one subject. I like that they gave her a history with Elle. They hint to that in the show that they worked on a case together, and I thought that spoke a lot for her character. But it does seem sudden, and it's just a frustrating situation in general, because you're like, no, but he gets away with it, and we all have to just deal with it.
We just have to deal with it until he...
Thanks, writers.
Thank you. So, episode 8, Glare. Yeah. So, Elle is getting closer and closer to discovering the identity of Kira, because, of course, he just knows. And my first note about this was, like, I'm still mad about episode 7, but, so, Elle's, like, got all his buddies over for a sleepover, and he gives them mochi ice cream, and they're all like, oh, we're looking over, like, the tapes from, like, the subway desks and stuff, and that's when he hones in on Ray Pember, and he's like, this seems weird. Why did he die in this fashion?
Yeah.
And the other thing I was just keeping in mind with this was, like, the Yamanote line.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Elle, of course, shares with everybody because he cares. And as they keep talking about it, Elle is just saying the obvious. It's like, listen, here's like the main crux that I think is the most suspicious. It's like Ray Pember was killed, and he was specifically following Light Yagami. Like this, like there's no way. Like it's got to be him.
Yeah, honestly, and like as soon. I think that's a later episode, but like, oh god, it bothers me so much. I'm looking at your notes and I'm looking at my notes, and I don't know if I like got my notes in the right place. I think episode 9 and episode 8 kind of like bleed together.
Yeah.
For me, because like Netflix, and I was like watching off and on between the emails, but like Netflix skips the intro, so I always listen for the and then I forget that they like, just go past it. So I'm like, wait, where am I taking notes? But like I just he really does narrow it down to just them, and I love the whole like everyone on the team is like, whoa, like that's a total invasion of privacy, and they're like throwing a fit and they're being like really uppity about respect and more, and Elle's just like, so y'all would die for this case, but you mad that like I might peep some of your wife's titty in the shower, like like. And they're like, exactly. And he's like, guys, please work with me here. Like, that's not what I'm doing. You know what I need to do. Please. They're just like, no. But I like it because they're all coming to, like, Yagami's defense. And they're just like, that's his family. And they're all his sons. And they're just, they love him so much. And it makes me really happy.
They love him so much. And even, like, even Dad is just like, listen, in order to make sure that, like, nobody there is fucking Kira, we should fucking go ahead and do this. And Elle's also like, also, you and me will just watch over your house. Nobody else has to look at that because I actually respect you.
Yeah, and that was really nice of him too. And I feel like, I mean, I don't think anybody else would have offered anyways on that team. But yeah, I love that Surichio is really just so behind and dedicated to this. It just makes it so sad. But he's like, no. Put those cameras in my house. Like, I want my family's name cleared. And I'm like, unfortunately, it never will be. Like,
it never will be. And
it just makes me so sad for him. He's such a good person.
I also like that part of this episode is that Elle mentions that he worked with Naomi, and that's also what motivates him a lot more to be like, I need to like look at Light, because there's no way that Naomi, the fucking fiance of Ray Pember, would kill herself like this. There's just no way. She was way more competent than that.
I love that he immediately picks up and notes that, like, she probably did get kidnapped. I mean, not kidnapped, but Kira got to her first. And I just love thinking of that as, like, a really angry motivator behind Elle a lot, because you could tell he respected her a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, get him every time.
Just get him.
Destroy him.
So they bug Light's house, and Light gets back, and he immediately knows that like his room is bugged.
I just like the precautions that he puts up. Like,
Oh
like
my God.
mechanical pencil. I'm not gonna lie though, when I was like 16 watching this show, I was like, dude, I'm gonna do that.
Same. Same.
Like, oh my God, that's my new way to determine if anybody's coming to my room.
Oh my God. And Ryuk is just being needy. He's like, "Why are you ignoring me, Light? Pay attention to me."
Just,
Oh God.
oh my God.
And
It's so good.
then they go out, and Light's like, they bugged my room. And Ryuk's like, "Wait, how the fuck do you know that?" And he's like, "I have author powers, Ryuk. Shut up." And he's like, "Well, Ryuk, I'm sorry, but you just can't have apples." And my poor son is like, "Wait, what do you mean I can't have apples?"
He literally Mr. Krabs memes. He's like, well, guess you're not gonna be able to eat apples. He's like, like, it like zooms in on his face. He's like, why would you do this? But like, he's smart to use that because he just like finds every single camera, and you just pour, and he like contorts. I think it's so funny that he gets withdrawals from apples. Like, it's like, you don't understand. I need my apples, and they're just like, well, guess you better find those cameras.
And then, as they're just watching Light's house, Light is reading a titty mag, and his dad's like, "Oh no, my son, how could he look at titties?" And I just made a note here like, "Come on, Dad, you're acting like you've never been horny."
Bruh, I was crying laughing. I always die at that scene because, like, there's so much to unpack there. Like, one, you've got disappointed dad.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't believe my son is looking at those. And Elle is totally unfazed. He's like, if anything, I can't believe it either because I genuinely don't think your son is interested in that. And he's probably Kira. And then after that, you have, like, the die down of the scene. And Sunichi is just staring at the screen and he's like, oh, Light. Like, he's just so disappointed. I love that they put that touch in there because he just genuinely sounds so upset and so disturbed. Oh, it's so nice.
And it's the most vanilla of porn ever. And it's like, really? This is what disappoints you, Dad?
And then Ella's like, you should have seen what I was into at his age. And she was like, what?
Like, listen.
Please don't talk to me like this.
He's like, listen, Sorichio, we're gonna have to get closer together. I'm seeing your wife's titties. You're gonna have to learn about the titties that I kept in my closet.
He's like, I don't want this, please.
Have you heard of Rule 34, Sorichio? It's a really neat website.
Oh, man. Literally, though, I just... his face, I just want so many, like, little in-between comics of him just being like, so... Is that a new kitchen? He's like, yeah, we put it in about 3 years ago. And he's like, it's nice. Like, just nice. Awkward little them going over videos together.
No, I like to think that this is actually what brings them closer together at that point. Because then he's like, where'd you get those countertops? Oh, I got them at Lowe's. Oh, did you?
Like, I love that Suichi, like, with the worst son in the world.
Yeah.
It's nice to see that, like, he just really gets to be everyone's dad. And I'm like, oh, it makes me feel a little better about him. I'm happy for you, sir, with all your surrogate sons and being better than your real terrible son.
Your real awful son. And then, Elle's like, listen, if there's anything I know that will get Kira to confess, is I gotta add him on Twitter. Hold on. And he makes him turn on the TV. And,
I love this part. Are you talking about when he's like, run a headline that says 1,500 FBI investigators are coming into Japan? I literally am going to draw a comic about this, but, like, Light is literally sitting there at the table, and he's like, this is the first trick he pulled the first time. I'm not going to fall for this again. And then out loud, he's like, if I was Kira, I'd never fall for this.
I'm just imagining as the build up to this is like, all right, go ahead and run this headline, and then you just hear, I was at the strain. And then he's just like, as soon as he says, it's like, ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
And I love how, like, it zooms in on Elle's face, and he's like, oh, this kid wants to get caught. He's like, this is gonna be fun. At least I know it's gonna be fun. But, like, I've got the guy. Like, I just have to prove it now. But Light's just like, like, over his shoulder, like, you think you got me?
And he's like,
what got you, little punk? Like,
Let the weather. It's just intensifying the more light just talks.
You're so stupid.
Uh,
He just needs so much attention. It drives me insane.
oh god.
If I were Kira, and then he proceeds to do that for the rest of the show. If I was Kira, blah 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 blah, and Lil's like, "Oh yeah, if you were Kira," and he's like, "Mm-hmm."
Like it's freaking O.J. Simpson. If I'd done it.
If I'd done it, literally.
Oh god.
I'm crying. That's so true.
And then we get to the crown jewel, the most important scene from Death Note, really. The most important scene ever, the chip scene. Ladies and gentlemen, we've made it. We've made it to the chip scene. We're here.
This is how you know. I mean, this is really all the Death Note you need to watch. Like, you got to get to the biggest meme of an anime, and then no one will know if you've never seen the whole thing, because you can just be like, yeah, but that potato chip scene, and they'll be like, she gets it. Like,
they get it.
they're fine.
Holy crap. So, I'm pretty sure most people who have had, like, any of their toes in anime knows how the scene goes. He opens up the bag of potato chips, really dramatic, like the potato chips should have gone flying.
Yeah, they really should have. I think about that every time. He's just like, ugh! And then they're just like calmly sitting there. I'm like, those are not normal Lays. Like,
oh no, they are not. And there's a mini TV in here, along with a piece of the Death Note taped to the side of the bag, inside the bag, so that he can go ahead and write people's names down according to this TV, so he can still do his fucking job, even though he's being surveillanced.
And it's this is the worst scene in Death Note, because it does, like, realistically, you're like, no one could be this stupid. He'd be like shuffling the chips around so that he could like see the TV. Like, he'd have both hands in the bag, like parting the Red Sea of chips, just trying to like see the names, because he can't have the TV on.
No.
Like, he can't have the TV on. So he's like, squish, squish. And then on top of that, it's the most important question that you need to come out of Death Note asking. How did he get the TV in a sealed bag of chips?
So, immediately after this, I took myself to the internet, because I've seen interviews.
If people say that he, like, resealed it with a lighter...
Oh, that's what people are saying, is that...
I'm gonna hurt them. Like, that's so stupid.
That's their fan-in explanations for this, is that he sealed the bag, except... The author has been, like, several different interviews. He's explained other stupid shit about this anime.
But not that.
Yeah! This is the one thing! This is the one thing! In an anime that's so obsessed with explaining its own logic,
every single detail. Yeah, like... I'm surprised no one's gone... Like, I think this is just the era before resealable chip bags. Because those are a thing, but, like, not for, like, you know, little 25-cent chips from a vending machine, you'd think. I just can't.
And I've been to Japan. I've seen their chip bags. You also don't open the chip bags like that. It's the tear-off one, and they don't have that many chips inside it.
Oh my god. I hate
So,
this episode.
So you had to, like, tear it open, and there's no way you just open it from there. So that should also be, like, a clear indicator to fucking L. Like, why is he opening the chip bag all weird?
He's just, like, going ham on those chips. Why is he smiling like that? Like,
he just really loves potato chips, I guess.
Also, he's like, I'll just appear to be studying, but I'm actually, like, writing names down. And they do a whole dramatic, like, duh, duh, and in the background, Ryuk's, like, doing cartwheels.
Yes.
And then, like, because he's going through withdrawals. And then the next day, he's talking about that same thing, and he's just, like, you can almost, like, feel the writer's regret.
Yeah.
Because Light's just like, well, I was only able to kill a whole 2 people with that trick.
Yeah.
A $400 mini TV, an unexplained sealed bag of chips with a TV inside of it, and you only killed 2 people? Like, all that dramatic music, and you got 2 people, and he's like, anyways, moving on. Like,
no.
For my next trick, and he just, like, keeps going.
the one thing I hate about that is that it's $400. Where does a high school student get $400?
Oh, I'm sure it was from, like, winning tennis championships or something.
Oh, right. We're almost there. We are almost there.
Episode 9 is one of my favorite episodes. I'm really excited.
Oh, no, it's episode 10.
Wait, we're not just talking about episode... No, episode 10 is good. But, I'm excited that we're moving on to episode 9 because that is one of my favorite scenes in Death Note.
So,
not the 10.
So, episode 9, Encounter. Ryuk, of course, says, why the fuck you spend $400 on a TV just... What the hell's wrong with you?
I love how Light just has, the most, pouty, entitled face on. He's just like, who, me? Yeah. Oh my god. And then, of course, he's just, fucking with Ryuk, and Ryuk's like, I could just write your name in my death note if you're gonna be this fucking, shitty about this. And Light's like, you'll never kill me. And he's like, I mean, you're right, but don't fucking test me. Yeah. He's like, you know what? I could write your... And Light's like, you won't. And Ryuk's like, yeah. Yet. He just looks at him with those olive eyes.
Oh my god.
Literally green olives for eyes.
And then L's basically saying that, yeah, we didn't find anything. We'll take out all the wiretaps and cameras. It's like, that sucks. No evidence. And he goes on this whole tangent about, that, there's absolutely no way that, somebody will just, do this with absolutely no remorse. And I'm like, L? And he's like, they had to have a god complex, completely detached from, humanity.
I love that monologue.
And yeah. I'm like, L, what you're describing is a sociopath. There is studies on sociopaths. This is a sociopath.
I like that scene too because he's going on and he's like, they would have had to reach, like you said, godlike proportions, and he's just punishing evildoers without a care in the world. And then it almost makes me want to believe that this is the work of a god. And then he just kind of gets quiet for a second. He's like, but that's ridiculous. And I'm going to find this baby and I'm going to send him to jail because he's just literally a little boy with a notebook written. I love it. And
that's true.
Later on, I love the portrayal of Light. No one, I just love it. It's such a slap in the face to him. Because even, I don't want to get too far ahead, but the whole concept of Light being a spoiled brat is loosely allured, alleged to in the previous, not the previous, the episodes in the future, and I love it. I love that they don't take him seriously, and they treat him exactly how he is, which is just a bored baby, and he just knows it from the beginning.
Yeah,
I love L. He's a good boy. He's got it down.
He's got it down. He knows. He knows what's up.
Profiled stamp.
Here you go. And he's like, well, I guess the only way I'll be able to actually get Kira to admit this, because he's gonna be a child and be like, hey, you want to see the cool shit I can do? Is I just gotta go be friends with a serial killer now.
What if I apply? Hey, hear me out. And the team is just staring at him. He's like, but what if I apply? And they're like, and he's like, to college. And they're like, and he's like, with Light. And they're like, no! And he's like, I'm going to take the exam and be the best. They get the same score.
The same exact score. And, oh god, Light's also just being a spoiled little shit. He's like, I'm here too early.
I'm like, shut up. Same, I hate waiting, but, the guy's like, quick, it's about to begin. He's like, don't rush perfection. He, walks past him into this exam.
And in the exam room, it's none other than L, our fucking gremlin.
Properly in your chair, and he's hissing at the guy.
Our gremlin, our monkey, our little goblin child, L.
Toes going to town, just little toes on the seat, and Light's like, what the? Can we just talk about Light being, where he is, feeling good, feeling safe, and he turns around in his entrance exam and sees this apparition-like man just staring at him, and he's like, Nani? What the heck is up with this guy? And then the same guy later on, finds out he's just as smart as him, gives the same, I don't know if you listen to this, but like if you listen to their speech, it's the same thing. Like it's
and he's holding a blank piece of paper too.
It's just blank, but he's giving Light's exact speech, and they go back down, and as they're walking down, Elle's just like, and he's like, oh, it's that creepy guy, and he's like, hey. Are you Sorichio Yagami's son? And he's like, oh shit. like I could just feel Light's fear, like, who is this guy? Get away from me. Oh, it's so funny. Like, it's just so over the top and hilarious to me.
Oh god. And then he does the most extra power move. And he's like, I want to tell you, by the way, I'm L. And Light just loses his ever-loving shit.
Like, and I love how, did you notice, like, I don't think he ever actually responds.
Yeah.
Like, Light's just like, I'm not gonna tell anybody. What is it? And he's like, I just want to tell you I'm L. Like, really quietly, and like, the kind of most childish, like, I just want to tell you I'm L. And he, like, looks back, and they just don't talk after that until the ceremony's over. It's just 10 minutes of Light Yagami monologuing and having a panic attack.
Inside his head.
Sitting there being humiliated in his seat, and I'm like, yes!
Yes!
So funny.
Oh, God. And
it's so great.
And then he just goes back home with his sister there, and he just starts screaming.
I've never been so humiliated in my life, and he's freaking out and narrating the whole thing, and I'm just looking at, like, his sister, and she's like, oh, it's just Light being Light, and I'm like,
I guess.
I hope they don't have any microphones left there, cuz.
Like, oh my god.
I love it. This is what I live for, is, like, Light losing his cool. Like, because he's, like, pissed 24/7. He's full of rage. But he's just always this nice, I'm a good boy, and I just play tennis and mind my business and do the best at everything. How are you doing today, Mom and Dad? And then, like, he gets his ass handed to him, and he's like, yeah! He just loses it. I love bad guys like this. I love when they seem cool and collected, and then they just lose it after a while.
It's so great.
It's so good.
It's so good. It is such a good scene. And then Light is like, no, I'm right exactly where I want to be. I got him. I fucking got him. I got him.
It'll be fun. This'll be fun. I can work with this. It'll be fun. And Ryuk's like, you don't sound like you're having fun. And he's like, oh, I will be. It's gonna be so much fun, Ryuk. And he's like, okay, buddy, you're scaring me a little bit. You're real angry there, Light.
I love that even Ryuk is like, you okay, buddy?
Yeah, he's like, whoa, he got to you, didn't he? And he's like, yeah. I'm fine. I'm having a great time, Ryuk. Thanks for the death note. And he's like, okay. Well.
Just gritted teeth, just like, I'm fine.
Just breaking his teeth. Starts chewing on the death note like an ant. Episode 9 is my top 5 episodes for this show. I love it. I love episode 9. I love the reveal.
It's so good.
It's just. Oh, and can we talk about how Elle's like, oh, I'm Hideki Ryuga, and he's like,
the pop star?
Like the pop star? And he's like, exactly like the pop star. And he's like, dang it! Like, can you just imagine?
Yeah.
Just imagine, like, Robert Mueller being, like, investigating someone, and he's like, yeah, my name's Justin Bieber. And you're like, I don't believe that for a second.
I don't.
He's like, no, totally is. My name's Justin Bieber. And he's just straight-faced. So call me Justin Bieber. And you're like, I hate him. Why is he like this?
Oh, God.
Sorry, I love episode 10.
No, episode 9's a good episode. It's really
so
good episode. Like, it almost made me forget episode 7. It almost made me forget the chip bag. It almost makes me forget the chip bag.
Almost. Unfortunately, that scene is cursed, and no one can ever forget the chip bag.
So, episode 10, Doubt.
Doubt, yeah.
Prince of Doubt, yes. Here we go. Prince of Tennis time. Light and Elle have a fucking tennis match because Elle is like, here's a perfect way to go ahead and do a psychological profile because he's a fucking child who hates losing. And
they both sure are.
And Light just looks at home in his fucking bro fucking tennis outfit.
prep school 101. There he is in his prime, glistening like a vampire out of a movie. He's just like, I'm here to win. Like,
so
thanks for inviting me to tennis, Elle.
And this was the episode that made me remember, oh, this is where the 3D chess, I remember, comes in. Because they just start going like, I'm thinking what he's thinking what I'm thinking, but if I do this, then I do what he wants, but if I do this, and I do that, and I do this, and I do that, and that way I can go ahead and get ahead of him, because I do what he wants me to do, but I don't do what he wants me to do.
I need you to read my first note for this episode, because it's literally what you just described, and I want to hear you lose it, because it's a video I think of every time.
The fucking Wii tennis!
He knows that I know that he's not. It's like back and forth. I see this, like, no matter how dramatic they are with their readings and how, like, well the logic is flowing, my caveman brain is just like, he knows that I know that he knows that I know that I know. It's just like, back and forth.
Oh my god. And then,
oh my god.
It's so good.
It's so funny. And I saw you had the same note I did, that where he's like, he who strikes first wins.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, Elle, like, that's like his strategy here.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's a big old metaphor for how, like, the actual thing goes, because Elle really did, like, strike out first.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
And yes, them just like arguing mentally, they're best friends. They're
best friends.
They're best friends.
They don't even, like, realize it until, like, a few episodes. Well, Elle doesn't realize it. Light's like, I'm not a human being. But, like, I like this because you can start to see, like, Elle learning to, like, respect Light and learning that, like, he's actually really intelligent. And that sucks because the more he learns about him, the more that he's like, you have to be Kira. But in the same breath, he's like, you'd be a really great apprentice. I already consider you a friend. It sucks. I hate that you did this. Like, why are you like this? And Light's just like, but I'm God. He's like, stop it.
Stop saying that.
Stop saying it.
Oh god.
Oh my! And the whole test, like, I love how they just go out for coffee afterwards.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, this is just a friendly, like, coffee time with my friend. No one will know. And I'm like, okay, but if y'all stop taking this so seriously for 2 seconds, you're getting along really well.
Yeah.
And the whole, like, how he shows Light his exact, like, pictures of the prisoners, and then he makes a fourth one, and he doesn't tell him, and he's like, oh no, actually there's a fourth one, and Light's like,
what?
No, there's not.
No, there's not.
Well, I mean, well, how was I supposed to know you had a fourth one? He's like, well, if you were a good detective, you would have considered that. And he's like, yeah, just gets so pissed.
He keeps getting so pissed. And he gets played like a fucking fiddle every single time.
Every single time. It's so funny. Like, I love how much Elle messes with him. He treats him like a caged animal, and it's so funny to me, because that's exactly how Light deserves to be treated. He deserves to be hunted down like the little bastard he is. It's so funny.
It's almost like you're Kira. No, I'm not. I just wear this Kira shirt. Just because it's like people are asking a lot of questions that are already answered by, like, I'm not Kira shirt.
He's like, okay, and can we talk about how this is one of the reasons why I consider his voice actor to be such a perfect fit for him, because the way that he says not, like, every single, if you were to just put a compilation together of Light Yagami saying, I'm not Kira, like, you would kill yourself at the end. Like, you'd be so
I'm not Kira.
mad. He's such a brat about it. He's like, I'm not Kira, and it's always an L, and he's just like, but you are.
But you are.
Oh, man.
Kira says, what? What?
What? Wait! Oh my god, I gotta draw that. That's great.
Just fucking, like, just puts him in handcuffs. He's like, got him.
Got him, and the Japanese police are like, we'll take it. Like, headcanon accepted.
Oh my god. That's the ending that we should have gotten.
It is. It's just, oh man.
Oh my god.
Got him. It just looks at the camera and it, like, freeze frames.
Yeah.
He's like halfway doing a thumbs up, but it just freeze frames like too fast. Da-da-da-da-da. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Music starts up.
Oh god. And then it, like, describes his whole detective thing as a hobby, which I'm like, what? That's not a hobby.
Elle's like, that's not normal, but neither am I, and I respect that about you. But sounds like you had access to police information. He's like, no, I swear, it's an extracurricular activity. Like tennis, I also love solving crimes. I was like, oh boy.
And the entire time, like, Light's just prattling on. Ella's just like, he talks so fucking much.
Oh, I love that line. He's like, you sure do talk a lot, don't you, Light? Young me just staring at him.
Oh my god.
Such a... and it's such a good point, though, because, like, honestly, that's one of Light's... I mean, it's basically his only... Besides the Death Note, his biggest power is just manipulating the hell out of people.
Yeah.
And I love that Elle is just immediately like, wow, you could have summed this up in like 3 words, and yet you're just still going, aren't you? And he's like, no, like Kira.
No, like Kira. This is me with every bar student that we've ever had, ever. You could have summed this up in like 3 words.
God. He literally is.
He's a bar student. Oh my god.
I hate this so much.
Oh god.
Oh my god, no.
Oh no. Alright. And then he gets a call from Dad. Turns out Dad had a heart attack. And here I'm thinking like, oh shit, did he finally do it?
I know. Like, you think about it and you're like, wait. Because I remember the first time watching this, I was like, oh, they didn't even like write. There's nothing about him killing did he just do it because he was like, I just literally expected the next scene to be like, I'm sorry, Dad, but I can't let I'm like, what? And then even Light's like, oh my god, my dad had a heart attack. And I'm like, this should be driving some points home for you, Light. And he's just like, oh wait, this is a chance for me to prove to Elle that I care about family.
Yeah.
Dad, I'm gonna catch Kira. And he's just like, oh my god.
And then he mentions like Ray, like Light mentions Ray Pember, like, you know, yeah, like Ray Pember was following me around. And Elle's just looking at him like, I never mentioned Ray Pember.
Bro, I thought about that too, but like, I guess if you're like, it's the inevitable conclusion to come to when they're talking about, but like, did he?
No, he never said that name. Like, Elle never said that name.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Bro, they could have had him right there.
They fucking... Well, that was just it. Elle looks at him and he's like, ah, yes, your deductive reasoning skills are so sharp. And he's here like, oh, I'm gonna have so much fucking fun fucking with you now.
I gotta go back and watch that, because, like, I don't know, I thought, like, maybe I thought, like, they said... that I know they definitely said something about, like, we had investigators, and you're under suspicion because one of those investigators, maybe it was in the news.
No, I don't think it was.
None of the names were released?
I don't think so.
I gotta rewatch this. Oh man, that would be such a huge plot hole.
You're talking about the same anime that gave us the chip bag, and you're worried about a plot hole.
It's ridiculous and not relevant to the plot really that much. It's just
it kind
stupid.
of is. It kind of.
I mean, it's like he doesn't get caught, and he kills 2 people with a chip bag, and you're like, okay, but this is like the guy that they literally narrowed down their suspects with. He just happens to know the name of the guy that was investigating him. Like, ugh, I don't know. That's concerning. Elle would have been like, got him, and like put him in handcuffs right there. Like, come on.
God. And then Light just keeps pushing, like, let me out to the task force. Come on, put me in, Chief. And Elle's like,
put me in, Chief.
He's just like, listen, buddy.
Coach, I can do this.
He's like, buddy, be patient. Chill.
Yeah, it'll come out if you're Kira or not. And Light's like, that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
I can help you. And he's like, just looking at each other.
And my favorite thing is that Ryuk, or before this, they're like, you know, the power of killing just makes anybody miserable. It just makes anybody just like, you know, fucking like, you know.
It's a curse. Yeah, they're like.
Yeah.
And like, just like, I'm happy as can be.
Like, are you sure? Because you've had like several fucking panic attacks since getting this fucking book.
This is why it just there's so many lines that I want to reference. They're all way later down the line, but like, remind me. I'm gonna make a note to myself to like go back to this episode and the whole like saying that he's cursed and that he's happier than he's ever been.
Oh man.
Light makes me, if he wasn't so insufferable and just so obviously bad from the beginning, like you want to him and Elle, if you look at them and like
Yeah.
how they were brought up and where they were brought up, and Light never being challenged, like always being the best, being bored out of his mind. You have Elle, who's been gifted from the beginning too, and has just gotten to like set his intellect free on the world and catch criminals from the very beginning. It just makes you sad. You're like, maybe they could have, maybe he could have been better off and just not been a sociopathic serial killer. Maybe. And he's like, yes, I could use this. Feel sorry for me. And you're like, okay, go to jail now. Go, bye bye. Like,
go bye. So we end at a TV studio with fucking J. Jonah Jameson, apparently. Just like,
I saw your note and I lost it.
He's like, I don't want this Kira bullshit. Get me pictures of Spider-Man.
Like, you gotta, like, if you edit this, please post a picture of the guy, because he's just like a Japanese guy from Spider-Man. He's just got me picture. He's got the cigar and everything.
He's got the fucking cigar. It's like they chose the fucking J. Jonah Jameson voice actor, basically.
Basically.
And then he gets, like, a fucking package that says, like, if you don't play these videos, like, from Kira, then, like, you'll go ahead and have, like, the entire staff of your studio dead. And it's like, this ain't Spider-Man, but I'll play it. And,
Not that I care about any of you guys. I'm just looking for views.
I'm just looking for Spider-Man. Maybe this will get Spider-Man's attention.
Spider-Man, check out my Twitter. Like... God. I'm gonna plug my Instagram, Spider-Man, check it out.
What would Jonah Jameson's, like, Instagram look like? It's just really raunchy pictures of him pose as Spider-Man.
Or it's just him, like, taking a selfie and he's like, saw this flower today, thought of Spider-Man. Like, Spider-Man, if you're out there, check out this cool bus I found with your name on it. Like,
oh my god.
Going to the grocery store. Get me some Spider-Man pops. How did we get stuck on Spider-Man?
I don't know. I think if Spider-Man was here, he would have gotten killed by Kira so fucking fast.
Oh, so fast.
Oh, God.
Poor Spider-Man. He could probably just write down Spider-Man and envision, like, the mask, and it would actually kill him. Like...
It might.
Oh, man. Well, the good news is our next 5 episodes... I'm lying. This is not good news. But Misa Amane is about to bounce into our lives, and we don't like Misa because she's annoying, but we hate Light even more because of how he treats her. It's terrible. So we'll get buckled in for this shit show.
So I guess this is the part of the show where I'm going to make my predictions about how I'm going to feel about the rest of this.
Oh, yes.
So I know Elle is going to die soon. Like, I know... Soon-ish. Like,
we'll have some good times. We'll have some good times before then, but...
Yeah, but, the thing that I'm not super jazzed about right now is the whole... Like, that Prince of Tennis scene, while fucking hilarious, felt like it dragged on for about 15 minutes. Of just them saying the same thing to each other, and I'm like, is this what the rest of the anime is going to be like?
Honestly, yes.
No!
The rest of this show,
no.
I mean, like, it's... You gotta sprinkle in, like, the fun of them actually, like, fighting each other, and, like, but so much of this show is mental arguing and them just, like, psychically debating each other and staring at each other really intensely, and they're just like, guys, you good? They're like, yeah, we're fine, and they just go back to staring at each other and having a mental argument, like, yeah, they're just gonna explain a lot of logic, but...
Of course, but they won't explain the chips, no!
No.
God damn it.
The chips are a mystery, and that's a good thing.
No, it's not!
Writer defensively.
Oh, God. But... I feel like that's gonna probably tire me out the quickest. Like,
yeah.
I feel like the other things will be like Misa. I vaguely recall Misa. I feel like I will have enough to chew on there that I won't be as bored. But I think like I will inevitably get bored with the whole like, I'm thinking what you're thinking, and you're thinking what I'm thinking what you're thinking, and I'm just gonna sit there just staring off into the middle distance, just browsing Twitter at that point.
Yeah, no, like I feel you. A lot of times, like I think that sometimes, like I'll be like, man, they just really do go on for so long. But I think the show has a really good way of like keeping the action balance. When they don't fill it in with actual, action, they'll fill it in with something like funny. So you kind of like hold on through all the like logic of it because Elle kicks Light in the actual face, like, and you're like, whoa! You like kind of wake up a little bit from it, and you're like, and then they go back to being like, anyways, back to our like debate, and he's like wiping his face. No, but I really like this. Is probably my favorite part of the show. Like Misa's really annoying, but I love how much she puts a strain on Light, and it brings in like it's fun. It's gonna be fun, but yes, there is a lot of logic that is coming and is going to be explained.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
I love it. I can't wait to listen to a monologuing gremlin.
No, you want to know something? Gremlins are cute. And
a mannequin from Abercrombie.
Yes, exactly.
It'll be good.
It'll be great. But
I might watch the rest of them tonight.
You might watch the next 5 episodes just tonight, just all in a row.
And just take them. No, I've already I'd already gotten to this point, when I first watched the first 5, because I was just like, screw it. But then I had to go back and like actually take notes because I was just like, Death Note again. So, I love this show too much. But yeah, it'll be fun. We'll have a good time.
We'll have a good. I know we'll have a good time because I get to look forward to this particular part of it. Like after rewatching it, it's just like, I get to come back with my gremlin friend Brand, and we'll go ahead and start screaming about this again.
About how he knows that I know that he knows that I know that I know that he knows.
And I will just start screaming, just out of nowhere, just like, please shut up, God, please.
Somebody hurt someone physically.
Just hurt him. Just take Light's hair and just rip off the wig. Just rip it off.
Snatch his wig.
He would wear a fucking wig. That's my headcanon. Light wears a fucking wig.
He's actually like Jude Law level balding in the front. He has like the worst widow's peak. It's like in the middle of his forehead.
Yeah.
I love this. This is wonderful.
Oh,
we all think he's the mullet king, but he's not.
Oh man. So yeah, we'll be back in 2 weeks with the next 5 episodes, and I will probably still enjoy this. But I guess it's time to just close this out. So Brad, where can people find you on the internet?
Oh, you can find me on Instagram and look at pictures of my cat at Branwitches. It's spelled like it sounds. If you don't know how to spell sandwiches, maybe look it up. Yeah, and Instagram's the only place I'm really like, check it out if you want to follow me. So, yeah. Don't look me up on Facebook. I'll block you. No offense, but I'll block you.
I'll block you. No, I don't want people who are listening to this podcast that we don't know be like, I need to talk to you about my Death Note feelings. And we're going to be like, don't.
I'll tell you how he got that No, if you know how he got that camera in that chip bag and it makes sense and it's not the image of Light using a lighter to like seal a bag together, do add me on Facebook because it's also Branwitches and I need to know the truth.
I need to know that. No, you see, I personally want it from the author. I want the author to explain this. Because I know everybody else has their own fucking fan canon about how the fuck he did this.
I'm gonna look up who's the author.
It's something Oba, I think.
I'm gonna find him.
You add him on Facebook. Like we just go ahead, we add him on Facebook. We're just like, guess what? You're my friend now. How'd he get the TV inside a bag of chips?
I'm gonna find you, Oba, and we're gonna talk.
Oh my god.
Oh man. Anyways, okay, sorry.
Yeah. So you can also find me at Just Joestar, uh, on basically everything now. The branding is all the same now. It's all the same. Just
Oh,
Joestar.
you updated was it Twitch or Instagram where it was just Joe Stars?
Yeah,
You did it.
I updated absolutely everything.
Good.
So
Consistency.
consistency. You can find me basically on Twitch, on Twitter, on Instagram, and of course here with the Paragade channel and whatever. We'll be back in 2 weeks, and we'll probably also scream some more about this, and hopefully not get another scene like the chip bag that haunts my ever waking moments.
The existence of Misa Misa cumulatively is as bad as the chip scene. So we'll tackle that next time.
Oh, I'm so happy.
I can't wait.
I can't wait. So yeah, thank you everybody so much for listening, and as always, always tip your waiters 50%. Good night.
Good night, everyone.